What's up, Pistons fans? Welcome to another episode of the Buffs On podcast. Four of us again. It's the same four. Unfortunately, no Amit again, but Mike Brooks is here in his replacement. I'm here. We got Gabe. We've got Connie. At the end of the day, there's four of us. Let's talk some Piston basketball. We're recording this Sunday evening right after a tough loss to the Miami Heat. Pistons dropped both their games this week, but in good news, they're now 2 games away from the Houston Rockets for 18 wins. Pistons on 16. Spurs are on 19, so the draft odds are looking pretty good for the Pistons here. 2 losses, though. A decent game against Miami, an okay one against Denver. Solid games all around. We saw some good things from James Wiseman, decent Killian Hayes games. We got Ivy back from the protocols. Duran is back looking healthy again. But I want to start with James Wiseman. I'm going to hop in before you guys get something to say here because James Wiseman had a pretty bad first half, but I put that mainly down to him not touching the ball very much. But he exploded in the second half against Miami, ended up with 22 points, 13 boards on 10 for 13 shooting, even hit a 3, had a little coast-to-coast session. And it just kind of got me thinking, like, man, this guy's kind of good. This guy's getting a little better. What's James Wiseman's ceiling? And what's his player comp like? Because this is going to sound a little foolish, but my comp to him is Joel Embiid.
You're right. That's gonna sound a little foolish. Player comp for James Wiseman. It's tough to say because he is like a rangy, sort of really long big man. He could take it. He could take it coast to coast. He's a good runner, but in the half court, he's mainly a drop off. He's a real good low post guy.
I see him as DeAndre Ayton that doesn't play defense.
Ooh, not bad.
Play defense?
That doesn't play defense, man. Dude, that guy meows, man. That guy meows on that court, man. He missed like 2 key rebounds.
For the people, what is meowing?
Lack of defense, lack of that Detroit grit.
All right.
Doesn't go too crazy, man. He's like a Karl Anthony Towns. He's soft a little. You could see how he's like soft. He doesn't like bring in the fire, the energy. You know, he missed like 2 key rebounds at the end, man. It's frustrating.
I have been enjoying that he is a little lacks some physicality from time to time, but I have been enjoying that he's been dunking like a lot recently. And what he's been cutting down on, I've seen, is he doesn't bring the ball. He did it once or twice this game, but he doesn't bring the ball down to his waist as much anymore. He's more up high because he gets stripped every time he goes low, but he's been staying high and he gets a lot of finishes around the basket. I think he's a big target. Got soft touch around the rim. His player comp is certainly not Joel Embiid, but.
How do you feel about my comparison?
Yeah, he's a little more to the rim. Like Ayton has great touch, but he shies away from contact a lot of the time. I don't feel like Wiseman does that as much.
So now that we've seen James Wiseman for a longer period of time, then what do you think his ceiling is? How impactful you think he's going to be as a Piston? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, your Ben Wallace's, your championship players.
Scale of 1 to 10, maybe like a 5 or a 6. Like, right. I think his ceiling is like, I think, a really good offensive big. Actually, his ceiling should be a really good 2-way big. That's like your 3rd or 4th best guy, because he's not like he's not a playmaker. He made some cross-court passes, but it takes him a longer time to do. He has been, I think, looking up a little bit more recently, looking for the pass, but he still does not. Like Amit said, he's allergic to assists. So I don't know if you can be like the 1st or 2nd best guy on a team if you're allergic to assists. So. But like as a play finisher and like in an ideal world, a good rim protector, like I don't know, 4th or 5th best guy on a solid team. Maybe he's a bench guy, but will he accept that?
Who knows? Yeah. Mike, how are you feeling about Wiseman's future?
Wiseman's future. I'd give it like between a 4 and a 5, pushing a 5. I don't see him starting over Duren. Duren's my boy. That guy's an
I agree with that.
animal. That guy's definitely gonna start 1000%. He fits the energy, he's got the attitude. He's a consistent, he's more, I think, more of a consistent player. Wiseman, I definitely think he can come off the bench as, like a ceiling, if he does stay when, if we start like contending for playoff seeds and have a better position in the standings. I think his ceiling's basically just off the bench, and gets his strap going and, throws a couple shots, maybe hopefully develops into a 3-point threat a little bit. But, at the end of the day, I think his defense is an issue and a little
Can I throw
slow.
someone
And
out there?
sometimes,
Can I throw someone out there?
Yeah.
Not in a comparison of like a body comp, but I think what they could bring to a team and what they were viewed as or what they became is a Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis for a long time was viewed as like a sort of good stats, bad team guy, not a good defender, kind of the guy who's gonna wash in and out of the NBA. But he got onto the Bucks and he really found like a role, and it's sort of that energy big off the bench that scores like a motherfucker and plays like system defense. Like I think James Wiseman could play that Bobby Portis role on a very good team because it's always important to like, get boards, which like he could get boards, and it's important to be. It's always important to be big and skilled, and he's big and skilled.
He's
And
big.
He can be dead.
He can put a he can throw some energy out there in the bench if he just I just sometimes in those games he looks like he's still not over his like high school girlfriend. He's still like heartbroken or something. He just looks sad sometimes.
Yeah.
And hopefully, he's over his high school girlfriend and and he's like ends up being like a tank, a monster. Just throw all that energy out, man. He's huge. I think he'll be perfect on the bench if he gets at, more of a, he just doesn't look as confident too. If he keeps his confidence, and the shooting's back in, hopefully he can, if he gets his rebounds going, man, he can be pretty dangerous off the bench. If he's more confident grabbing those boards, I guarantee that.
We're playing with Cade Cunningham next year.
That'll help.
Could be different. Yeah, that's a good point. You never know.
Your views on Wiseman's future, his ceiling, and if you got any other player comparisons, you'd love to hear him.
I think he's an off the bench type of player just because Duren's a lock at that 5, and then it's fluid against a large team. You might want Wiseman out there, but I think Stu, just with his like passing ability, defense, 3-point shooting, theoretically, is the more traditional 4 that you'd want out there. He's just a better player, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I did really like that Bobby Portis comparison. But for me, I think there's no reason to put a ceiling as a bench player. For me, his floor is going to be coming off that bench and being impactful. I think he's going to find a way to be impactful no matter what. If he comes off the bench, he's going to dunk the ball a lot, kind of not in a great way, but kind of how Christian Wood does in Dallas right now. But I see no reason why the ceiling still can't be a starting 5, and for that matter, a pretty dominant starting 5, especially here. I'm going to segue over a little bit from that match against Denver, because in that third quarter, Casey said he was forced to, but we saw a little bit of the Duren Wiseman lineup, and quite frankly, it looked pretty good to me. We saw Duren connect twice in the lob. We've seen his passing ability. Duren even attempted a 3, so who knows, some floor spacing will come from there. And Wiseman hit his only 3 tonight. I was pleased to see Duren Wiseman, and even going further than that, I don't get the point of playing Bagley over Duren at this point. I don't think we could get worse from playing Duren and Wiseman together because Bagley provides nothing as a shooter. He doesn't get guarded on the 3-point line, and he's a bad shooter, and he likes facing up in the post way too much and shooting those middies for me. So I see no reason why we can't go Duren Wiseman right now, especially while we have the depth. We have Eugene and Marvin off that bench. How do you guys like those minutes? Do you think there's going to be more of that coming down to the end of the season?
I sure hope so. And I think what unlocks it is just how like really dynamic Jalen Duren is on offense. So much more than a rim running big. He has like passing ability, passing vision, uh, some good sweet moves, some very solid touch. The jumper is absolutely not there yet. He took a he took a buzzer beater three today and got the offensive charge. Ran over a guy, real bad brick. But like the in Cleveland, the two big lineup with Mobley and Allen, it works because both of those guys are dynamic to some level on the offensive end. And Wiseman and Duren are both dynamic in different ways too. Like Wiseman is more of a finisher, Duren is more of a distributor, but absolutely also can finish like a monster. I think both of them being able to do things on different spots on the floor, it's interesting. Now the issue is that we have Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey out there, and so there's four guys guarding those two people inside because there isn't shit for shooting on this team right now. So that's why it's not really that fun to watch right now. But in theory, I think it could be cool.
Right on. Mike, I know you love Duren.
I love Duren, man. I think him and Cater, honestly, the only pieces that I think are untouchable right now. I think though, I mean, he's he doesn't really need to shoot. He doesn't really need I mean, like, there's good bigs that like don't really have like a big strap. And I just if he all he needs to do is honestly just focus on that interior and the rebounding. He can do so much damage because if later on if we find better shooting around and always giving the second chance to Cade, with an offensive board, if he's dominant, continue on dominant in his prime, I mean that's very dangerous and it's very expensive to have on that team. And I mean he's a huge piece of the puzzle that I think they got going on there.
Gabe, how are you liking Duren's future? Is he going to be just as an out-and-out five, or you think he's going to be next to someone other than an Isaiah Stewart, that could be next to a Wiseman or insert the name of a big? Do you think we'll see that expansion of the game? And I want to ask everyone, I know it's kind of hard to tell so far, and the jumper hasn't looked too good, and it's kind of hard to tell, but do you think he's going to be shooting jumpers at a consistent rate at any point in his career?
No.
And I don't think it matters who's next to him. He's the five because of his north-south and vertical spacing. Once we have an actual team around with Cade and shooters on the perimeter, Duren becomes much more valuable. He's like Robert Williams on Boston. They're a good team without him, but they become a contender with him just because he provides that threat that people like no one else can on the team and frankly in the league as well. There's very few players who can keep up with him. When you have an elite pick and roll player with Cade, I mean, granted, if we get Victor, things change, but a Cade, Stu, and Duren, I think they're locked in to start next year and for the next 5-7 years.
Yeah, I could very well see that. It'll be interesting to see how that fits with more pieces coming in through the draft and other ways. All right, so the two games what's up,
Sorry,
Connor?
real quick. I was just messing around on Google and I was looking for player comparisons, statistical comparisons. Who matches up very well statistically to James Wiseman in his young age is a young Al Jefferson.
Oh, big Al.
Big Al.
Al Jefferson is kind of a hooper. Pretty similar game to James Wiseman, big with a little bit of a strap, like to beat you down low. Not a great defender at any point. But how do you feel about that? How do you feel about an Al Jefferson?
I love it.
I genuinely love that one. I mean, Al Jefferson was a a good scorer in his day. He averaged over 20, I believe, for a couple of seasons there.
Pretty sure he was all NBA for some. I think something in Charlotte. They like when they balled
Yeah.
out with the playoffs, and then
And his first thing was scoring the ball, but he was a bit more, I don't know, modern is the word, but he was a very good mid-range jump shooter, but very efficient down on that post. Just a pure offensive guy. Yeah, I really like that comparison. You come in with a couple of really good ones here. Pistons fan, Buffs on fans. We want to hear from you guys who you think a good comparison for James Wiseman is, where you see the future of Wiseman and Duran. But that was the recap of that brief week we've had. 0-2 week yet again. The Pistons have now have a 3-game lead for the worst record. Again, the Pistons are sitting on 16 wins. The Rockets are on 18, and the Spurs are on 19. The Pistons play the Rockets in just a couple weeks. Anything else you guys want to touch on here before we move on to the second half of this podcast?
I do have a very quick question to you guys.
Floor is all yours.
Next year Wiseman's contract's up. Are you guys paying him like 15-20 million a year for 4 years?
Anyone else in the league is either.
What was that?
who are you battling?
Like what's the most you would pay Wiseman, even though you're gonna have to extend Stewart, Duran, and Cade, guaranteed. Like around that time.
I would I would say it's a similar deal to Marvin Bagley's, and I think I'd be happy giving him that and probably a little bit more as well. Assuming that we move on from Marvin Bagley in the not too distant future. I'd be happy hovering around.
We have him next year.
Yes,
Yeah.
for 12, I think.
Yeah,
I would be happy offering him anywhere ranging from $15 to $17 million, preferably over a 3-year deal, and I think it'll have a team option involved, just like Bagley.
Okay, you don't think a nincompoop will give him like 15 for 4?
If somebody wants to, they can. But
Yeah.
also, like, we got a whole year to make. Like, he's not getting the extension this summer, I don't think. But
No.
Yeah.
we got a whole year to see him with our actual guards, see him who actually might be trying to win some games.
Yeah.
And I think
I was just wondering.
money next year, I think. So I
'Cause
have no idea. I really
Okay.
don't know where Wiseman will get paid.
Because you got to pay. You got to pay all the big men.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit tough to tell.
And Cade and Ivy are gonna have to get paid at some point too.
Yeah, they'll be getting maxes.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about Ivy yet.
No, we don't have to worry too much about paying people just yet. But the good news is we do, as of right now, have the second most money available in the entire NBA. And that's only going to keep shooting up for you guys coming off contract this year. But transitioning here into the second half of the show, we're bringing back a fan favorite, the Guess the Pistons show, but with a new tweak. So instead of the three fellas, which will be Mike, Connie, and Gabe, guessing the player and having their own questions, I've selected 3 players here. We'll go one by one, and I have a total of 5 clues. Clue 1 is worth 5 points. Clue 2 is worth 4 points, and so on and so forth. It's a competition between the 3 of you over the 3 players, testing your Pistons knowledge. So if you guys are ready, I'm gonna hop right into it.
Do we just spray it?
So it's
I'm
it's one player with 3 clues about him.
So 1 player, 5 clues.
5 clues.
Yep, and the sooner you guess them, the more points you get.
I got
We don't make a buzzer noise. We just say their name.
I don't know. What do you think is the most efficient way to go at this?
I don't know. The buzzer noise kind of sounds funny, but nah, I don't. Not on the fly here.
Let's do buzzer noise.
Yeah, give me everybody get your noise in. Connie, what's your noise? Mike.
Whoo.
Gabe, gotta be something different.
Can I do that as well?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right. I started out with perhaps the easiest player. So without further ado, guess the Piston. Clue number 1, worth 5 points. I was a first round draft pick by the Pistons, and I was within the first 15 picks of the draft. Yes, Connie.
Sekou.
No.
Who?
Yes, Mike.
Stanley Johnson.
No. Gabe?
Brandon Knight.
No. All right,
Holy
clue
cow.
number 2, worth 4 points. I played under several coaches in my time as a Piston, including Stan Van Gundy, Dwayne Casey, Maurice Cheeks, and Lawrence Frank.
Who?
Mike.
Andre Drummond.
Boom.
Wow.
Told you I was coming in a little lighter with the first one.
Unbelievable.
We got 4 points going to the special guest, Mike Brooks. Can't have the special guest win on the Buffs on pod, guys. All right. I anticipate a better battle for this one. All right.
Yeah.
Player number 2, starting with clue number 1. I was acquired via trade with the promise of being 3-point shooting.
Beat Bogdanovich.
No.
Who?
Yes.
Blake Griffin.
No. Gabe? Come again?
Are you muted?
Hey.
Gabe, what are we saying, Gabe?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear. We got you back now.
Jody Meeks.
No. Good guess, though.
Wow.
Clue number 2, worth 4 points. I have 1 game winner as a Detroit Piston.
Alec Burks.
I need to hear a beep.
Beep Alec Burks.
No.
Oh, beep.
Yes.
Sadiq Bey.
No.
Drafted by the Pistons.
Oh, well, didn't they trade? They traded to get his pick.
I suppose technically, yeah. Gabe, you're the final one again.
What was the clues? Sorry, I had to fix
The
my
clue
audio.
was this player has hit 1 game winner as a Detroit Piston. And again, Buffs on fans, while you're listening, want you playing
Was it a
along
buzzer beater?
and getting your engagement.
Reggie
Who won
Bullock.
this round, man? You can't guess again.
Reggie
Not Reggie
Bullock.
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 All right, moving into clue number 3. As a rookie, I scored 48 points in 1 game.
What?
Who the fuck is this?
Hey,
Hint,
Who
not
is
as a
this?
Piston.
Brandon Jennings.
No, very good guess.
That's crazy.
Charlie Villanueva.
Ding, ding, ding. Charlie V as a Toronto Raptor dropped 48 in his rookie season. One of the most overlooked facts right there. Charlie V, a Pistons legend. His game winner was not a buzzer beater. It was just a shot with a few seconds remaining.
I remember
see,
that.
that's-
Yep.
Yeah, I knew Charles Villanueva hit a game winner. I thought you meant buzzer beater. That's yeah.
He came into the league too early. He might be an all-star these days.
one of my genuinely one of my most favorite Pistons of all time. Love Charlie B.
I really like Charlie B, man.
Man, he could shoot that thing.
I wonder what he's doing right now, man.
I'm sure he's doing all right.
With his millions of dollars.
Probably
All right,
listening.
moving on to the final player.
Probably listening. Yeah, he is. What up, Charlie? If you're
What up,
listening,
Charlie? I hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah.
Love your time in Detroit. Love
Yeah,
your
everyone, go at him at this podcast on Twitter. Yeah, he'll love good for
Gabe, you got some work to do. Connie's sitting on 3 points, and Mike, as of now, is taking it home with 4. As we head into our final player here. You guys ready? All right, clue number 1. Again, worth 5 points. I played for a major basketball college.
Hey, Luke Kennard.
No.
Oh, fantastic guess, man.
Yeah.
Stanley Johnson.
No.
It's Arizona major.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Kevin Knox.
No. Moving on to clue number 2. Gabe, you need this one to stay alive. I was a Piston for 3 years after being selected by them.
Pistons usually like They
John
hold
Lure.
guys way too long.
No, not John Lure.
John not drafted by the Pistons, man.
Oh, they were drafted. Oh yeah, behind them.
Sadiq Bey.
No.
I mean,
Gabe, anything?
Henry Ellenson.
No.
Oh, what a
where
guess.
did Henry Ellenson go to college?
Marquette.
Okay.
Oh, that's not a game. Yeah, bad guess. Bad guess then.
All right. Clue number 3. I was an all-rookie second-team member, and my career high is 22 points. Kind of a two-for-one there.
Oh, Kyle Singler.
Kyle Singler it is!
Oh,
And Cody steals it right from under Mike.
unbelievable. Oh.
I once
Kyle Singler.
when I went to WCC, I once wrote an essay. No, wait, I couldn't. It might have been high school. At some point, I wrote an essay about Kyle Singler and how he was going to be like a hooper. And like there was like, and one of the big ones was that he was all rookie second team with like Dre and a couple other guys.
What class was it? What class was it on?
Some like shit writing class. I don't know, but
Persuasion class.
yeah, probably persuasive writing, something like that.
Yeah, I'll put a bonus point out here if maybe Gabe can get on the board. What team did Kyle Singler play for the year
Duke.
prior to being selected? Not Duke.
What?
What do you mean?
After the Pistons?
The
Thunder.
Well, how's it the Turkey team
Turkey team.
from Turkey?
He played 1 year for Real Madrid actually before entering the league.
Really?
Bachos, I was gonna say.
And my next clue I was gonna get to, I was really hoping I would get to it. Do you guys remember Kyle Singler's trick shot
I
YouTube
was
channel?
just about to bring him up. The best trick shots. He did them in London that one time when they went overseas. Yeah, trick shot master.
That was gonna be the penultimate clue. I'm a bit sad we didn't get to it.
Mm.
And so is that a W for me?
Yeah, a win for Connie. You took it late.
Well, pretty lucky, but it's whatever.
Maybe we can do it again with some more players, so there's more points involved sometime.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, but that's it for the fan favorite Guess the Piston. Make sure to @ Charlie Villanueva after listening to this podcast.
Absolutely. He
guys.
needs to hear it. Absolutely.
As many people. How many
Alopecia
pods are talking
assassin.
about Charlie V's game winner as a Piston?
We can make it happen. They could. The
Bald
fans can make
Mamba.
I'd love to get his wisdom on the pod. But Pistons have two games this week. On Tuesday, they travel to Atlanta to face guess who? Sadiq Bey's Atlanta Hawks. Should be a fun little reunion. Shame it's not in Detroit. Before on Friday, the Pistons play the Toronto Raptors. And after this, guys, after those two games, we only have 8 games left in the season, meaning we only have 10 in total. Any wins coming late in this season, the remaining 10 games, or are you seeing another 10-game losing streak or something similar?
I'm thinking 10-game losing streak likely. I think none of the guys that are sitting right now are going to come back for the rest of the season. I feel like that's clearing up.
Yep,
We're
definitely.
going to be playing the duty squad for a little bit, and we can continue to talk about Killian Hayes and him putting up garbage stats.
13-11. What the heck, man? Is there anything you guys are going to be keeping your eye out then, assuming we don't get the Bojans back, the Burks back, the Cades back, obviously? Anything in these remaining 10 games that's worth keeping an eye on, or is this just you're a sicko for watching?
Jalen Duren as a passer. Like, the stuff that he's doing, always watch for the huge dunks. One of the best dunkers in the game. But what I'm looking for is him as a passer, him as a distributor. I want to see the other stuff. And I think he's going to have plenty of chance to do it because we suck, and he's just going to be like, go crazy, make some mistakes, have some fun. It's going to be great.
Sweet. Mike, Gabe, anything you guys want to see these last 10 games of the season before we get out of here?
That's a great answer by Connie. That's probably, yeah.
Mike, you got anything?
Our 10-day guy fighting for his life.
Eugene Omarui, man. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah, Aruri. Hopefully balls out. See some roster maybe a roster spot might be available next year. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. Anyways, like we said, Pistons have 2 games this week, 10 games remaining. The season is coming to a close, guys. And just a reminder, on March 24th, meet us at the not Little Caesars Arena. Meet us at the Motor City Cruise game. We are giving away free tickets. We sold out all 50 of them. Meet us before the game. Show us you follow us, and your admission is free. So we hope that everyone is coming, enjoys the game. But until then, Detroit, throw the Buffs on. The future is bright.